She's like 5 hours ahead.
All good. It's all good.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Hi.
Okay. Well, welcome to everybody. I'm pretty sure that some people are having issues with receiving the link. I don't know why. But I'm just emailing it to them as they email me asking for it. So Ellie, you've been teaching the workshop for the past 3 weeks, is it? Or there was one week that you didn't teach and then you came back and taught,
Exactly.
and then you came
That there
back
was
and
another activity and then
taught 2 consecutive workshops. So,
Mhm.
guys, every time these workshops with Ellie ends, you guys are like very active, and very involved in the activities that she assigns to you. So we want to know, Ellie and I, what is it that you guys are finding challenging as you write? What is it that you need more support with? Is it character building? Is it developing your story? Is it finding your voice? What is it? Because depending on your answers, then Ailey and I can create a series of workshops that could help you guys through that. So it would be like not part of the writer's salon, but something separate that would be a series just to walk you through that entire process of putting your book together. So please add in the chat what it is that you guys, or if you want to voice it, that's fine too. We're taking these few minutes so that everyone can share what it is that they need exactly, what kind of support they need with the projects. Because I know that many of you have actual books that you're writing and that you're finishing. Um, as opposed to some of you who probably are journaling or still trying to figure your way out on what you want to publish. But for those who have an actual project that is ready, practically ready, or midway, let us know. Lisa, you want to
Um,
share something?
yes. So I guess my biggest challenge is that once I moved here to the United States, I was used to having community around writing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether if it was like an actual cluster of writers or just somebody who was open to listening to what I was putting together. And so I was able to have feedback. So now that I'm here, it's just me. And again, just where I live and a lot of other details, like people just don't care. And there isn't that space of community of like, hey, I wrote this paragraph or I wrote this chapter. Like, would you read it and tell me what you think? And just having to blindly rely on what I think sometimes is a little limiting. Now that I don't trust myself, but I'm only just one pair of eyes, there's certain things that I wish I could catch that I don't get to see.
Okay.
I do like that body doubling too, so that's on me, and I just try to find ways to create that space where I can just sit down and actually write. Obviously, if there could be a way to, engage in this community in that way, that'd also be great. But I know that that's also for me to do.
Okay. I get it. Yeah, community is very important. Um, Otherwise you feel isolated and you feel like you're alone in this journey, but that's not the case. Um, Anyone else wants to share?
Thank you, Angie, for letting me in. I don't know why I did not receive the email, although I registered since Wednesday, but thank you so much for reading my email.
Oh, don't worry about
Um,
it.
and then I guess just echoing what Lisa said about the feedback. I think this salon and what Ellie has given us these weeks is like the space to hear feedback, and not because we don't believe in our work, but we need the feedback in order to become better or to fix things. So I think that what have helped me in these past weeks is hearing from others some phrases. Maybe we haven't been very like, oh, like I don't know what is a real feedback in writing. If when you are writing there should be a person saying, oh, you should be fixing these because that's not the intention that you are trying to make. I don't know, but I
Mhm.
guess that's like one of the things that I'm interesting, because so far the feedback is being more like like more like positive. If I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's why I'm like very I love. I mean, Ellie is a wonderful teacher. Thank you. You're amazing. And I really appreciate this opportunity when we are sharing and hearing feedback.
Okay, so yours is feedback. You need feedback. It's like you need a soundboard for your writing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super important as well. Which is sometimes I suggest to people that they read their work out loud, right? Because then you get to hear yourself and you sometimes you're able to identify some of the errors or mistakes that you have in your writing and you're able to make those corrections. Rosita, welcome. I'm Ellie and I are just asking everyone what are your challenges? What are the things that you need help with and support so that we could identify what other workshops to offer you guys. Um, who else wants to share?
Can I share?
Sure, Patricia.
For me, it's just revision. I need to just learn more about revision when it comes to fiction, specifically novels. I know the basics of it, and I've been working on it for a long time, but I'm at a point where I want to get to like my final revisions, and I'm trying to figure out like how to get there and how to know when I'm ready.
Okay, yeah. Anyone else? Natasha, you want to share?
I just put in the chat. I agree with Kim, like reading out loud or sharing something right in writing and having someone be like, "Oh, like I would love to hear more about this particular character. What's her background?" Things like that would be super helpful for me.
Got it. What are you working on, Natasha?
LOL. Mostly journaling and I guess they're called short stories. I'm still trying to figure out my genre, I guess. I'm all new to this.
Okay. Your short story, do you have a lot already done?
No,
No. Okay. Well,
like
maybe, yeah, sharing the short stories definitely, I would suggest that so people could read. Maciel is not here today. I think you and Maciel would be great to pair up
Okay,
and
I'll
give
hit her
each
up.
other feedback. Ella no entró y look at that. Um,
Word.
I
I
think
can
she
do that.
has I think she has something. Oh, she has a workshop today. That's what it is. Now that I remember. Um, Eduardo, what are you working on? I know you took a hiatus, but
A hiatus is an understatement. But my mission right now is to finish a thing. I think I'm getting a little bit too.
you're going all over the place, you feel?
Here's how I'm gonna change the world. Let me just write a short story. So my mission right now is literally just to finish one thing because I have so many open projects that all hopefully someday gel together into a complete story. But it's kind of silly that I keep thinking from the ground, from the top level up, down. So my mission is to finish just a couple of the short stories that I know that they're literally fleshed out from part.
In the book.
Yeah. Um, Specifically, one short story that's been in my head lately because it relates to what other people are going through, and so I've been kind of sort of switching gears from instead of this big book that talks about everything to just a short story that talks about one thing, just so I can say that I did it. So that's where I'm at. I don't know how that relates to everybody else, but everything I heard so far would help it. Just having someone to go, here's a 10-page short story that I wrote, and it's technically the first thing that I say that I'm finished with.
Hmm.
I think that would be really helpful for me.
Do you have a Substack?
No,
Okay.
I thought funny enough, this short story that I have in my head would be okay to publish publicly, but I would need to investigate what putting out there some of my stories without them feeling finished would mean. I would need to investigate too much. So I've never relied on that world. That said, literally what I'm speaking about today, if it was finished, I'd be like, here it is. So maybe
Okay.
that's why I'm
I
Oh,
think
okay.
you should participate in our memoir and essays WhatsApp community. Um, because Mike, for example, he's in there, and I think you guys could relate. Your stories are very. I think you guys will have a great conversation.
Okay.
So, o entra tú o te entro yo.
Está bien. Entro yo, entro yo. So,
Um, Anyone else wants to share? Ellie, is there anything else that you specifically would like to know as well?
And no, I think throughout the session, I will pop up some questions that might help me get more information. But I can see that what they want is like inside their job so they can keep improving what they have. And sometimes here we don't have that time because we are doing more of exploration exercises, and I don't know the intention, so me giving like a big insight into that won't be proper in that stage that we're going to talk about, that the different stages of the creation. But yes, will be a time that I will be like, okay, this point we need to work into this through these exercises. But like you say, in a more specialized workshop about that.
Right. Okay. So I'll leave it up to you to start the workshop.
Okay.
I gave
Okay.
you sharing.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Nice to be here again and to hear more about what you're looking for. Let me share. Oh, wait, one moment. I need to share sound. Okay. And let me see. Can you see the, let me see one. Okay, now. Now. Okay. So, welcome to this workshop, Sustaining a Creative Project, How to Keep Going When Excitement Fades. This is a very important thing for us to keep moving and to keep working, even when we are not that excited or when some obstacles come to the writing process. So, it's important to understand that in this workshop we are going to see some concepts and also to do some exercise as always. But when we start a project, we start with a lot of energy, a lot of curiosity, and we are full of creativity, excitement, and everything. But when this process continues, then we start having doubts, insecurities, and many obstacles that comes around the project that no longer feels that effortless. But that's completely normal. That's part of the process. We're gonna ups and down, and we need some tools in order to finish a project like Eduardo was talking about. So I want us to understand like the three emotional stages of having a creative project. Like I said, first, we have this excitement stage. We have many ideas. I have this high energy, very clear vision of what I want to do, and we are really connected. Then I have doubts, like problems begin to appear. I have so many questions about my stories. The motivation is not that high. As I go deeper, I don't know many of the answers of those questions. And then comes the commitment stage, like the idea becomes a project. It's not just an idea that I have, but becomes something bigger that I can say like this is a novel or this is a short story or this is a book of poem, and I need some discipline in order to sustain all that process. And also inside of the creative process, the excitement will come again, the doubt will come again, and being sure or not sure of being committed as well. Like it will play around, but I will show you more. So, first, like I said, infatuation, we are so in love with the project.
We are with this passion. Then becomes a decision like, okay, this is a project. I'm going to write a novel. I'm going to take this time for writing. I'm going to do this thing so I can finish my project. The third stage is the construction, when I start writing and finding information about my characters, about my ideas, about everything that's going around. And as I am in this writing stage, I get confused because I don't know if this is the best tone, or if this character can go here, or if I have to change the world. Like, we have a lot of doubts and questions. But then we start rewriting through that doubts. Okay, I have this character. I start asking questions, and then I take a decision like, I no longer need this character. So I'm going to rewrite through that. Or I can see that this quality of the character that I found doesn't work as well as I thought. So I have to rewrite. Then, even after that, after I am very committed, I have written a lot, I can feel the desire to quit. Like, I cannot handle this anymore. I'm not sure if this is what I want. I am not as passionate as I began. So this can come again at a very close stage of the end, because of course sometimes we are scared of success as well. But then after we work through that comes the integration part. Like, you let go the things that you thought the project would be, and you allow the project be what it has to be. And after that process, which is like a catharsis, comes the closure. So I just want you to see all that we go through when we are writing. So if we don't have tools, if we don't have a community like people were talking about, if we don't have a great organization, we won't make it to the end. Okay? Let me see. Someone in the chat. Okay. So thank you. I will continue. Like, these are for me the three foundations for an idea to become a project, because sometimes we have a lot of amazing ideas, but that doesn't mean that this is a project. Okay? That doesn't mean this great idea that everyone loves becomes a project. So, for that becoming a project, first we need clarity. If I don't have clarity of what I want to do, if I cannot name a plot, a character, a conflict situation, this is just an idea and I'm not ready. If I can translate that into a plot, then I have something that I will work on. Then, emotional charge. This project needs to mean something for me. I need to be well connected to this. I need to have a curiosity. It needs to be connected to me. So when doubts come around, I will be empowered because I believe in this project. I am very passionate and I will go through whatever I have to go. And then later on, narrative potential. Like, the idea contains enough depth to grow, because sometimes we have an idea, but when we continue working in this idea, we realize this cannot be a novel, for example. This is a short story. So the ability to recognize that can help us to not waste our time starting something that I don't have enough information, or I'm not well connected, or I don't have clarity of what I want to do. So now we will do some exercises that might help you through this process, okay? So first, I want you to pick a project that you have already or that you have in mind. And I want you to follow this formula with the project. Like, first, a character wants something but faces a conflict which could lead to a possible outcome. And here is an example. A young journalist wants to uncover the truth behind a series of disappearances in her town, but powerful people are trying to silence her, which could lead to her exposing a dangerous network or losing everything in the process. So I want you to take your project or your idea and put it in this formula. We will take 10 minutes for that, okay? Angie, I cannot find the. Oh my God. I think I need to get out.
Ellie, you always have to open the timer before you share. So stop sharing,
Yes, let
open
me
the timer, and
apps.
then open the presentation again. And never close the timer, leave it open.
Okay.
You see it at the bottom under apps,
Yes. Very good now. Okay.
and then reshare.
Okay. Did everyone understood? Let me see. Let me see. Yes. Okay. Also, don't try to make it perfect, like just to have something that you will keep working on. But if you're not able to put that into words, then there's something we need to think about. So just to have an idea of what we want to create. Okay, please, everyone confirm in the chat that you guys could do this exercise. Okay, I want to know that. Okay, so as you are confirming, I will continue to the next exercise, which is finding this emotional charge that we had with our project. So basically, I want you to write three whys and three for whats you are doing this project. Why comes from the past and for what to the future. For example, I want to write a book about bullying and why? Because when I was a child, I experienced bullying at school or my brother had a bullying situation like from my past. And for what that goes to the future is like to raise awareness and create a story that accompanies people who have lived through that experience, like what you want to do with that story in the future. So I want you to write three and three, three whys and three for whats from that project. We will take 5 minutes for that. Wait. Mhm.
Can you put the prompt back on screen, please?
Yes. One moment. Okay.
Thank you. It's not up yet.
Okay, so now we have the project and we have the emotional charge, like for why, for what and why. We continue. The next exercise, we are going to test the narrative potential. So we will take 10 minutes for this because we are out of time. To write three possible scenes that could happen in your story, just like to name the scenes, and I will put the examples to see if I can create a scene from that story, if I can have it in mind quickly. Like we will put like where does it happen, what does the character want in that moment, and what obstacle appears in the scene. And after you uh, do these three briefly scenes, you will pick only one and develop. Okay, we will take 15 minutes. So here is the example. First, you will take the three scenes from your story. Like my first scene, a journalist arrives at an abandoned house while investigating a disappearance. She wants to find evidence, but someone is already inside watching her. This is a possibility that I have for my story. The second possibility, she confronts the mayor at a public event. She wants answers, but he returns the crowd against her. This is my second possibility. The third possibility, late at night, she discovers a hidden file that could expose everything, but opening it could put her in danger. So I have these three possibilities that I can create from my story. Now I pick one and I develop that scene. Okay? We will take 15 minutes for that. Everything clear? If you have doubts, you can ask me, of course. Okay.
Can you go to the previous slide explaining?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Here. You rather me to let this or the other? Because the other is the example of this prompt. Let me see. This one. Okay, perfect. Okay. I think this will be part one of this workshop, and I'm gonna do a part two because I want to stop here. So we talked a little bit about what happened. So these three simple exercises can help us to realize whether this idea can become a project and whether this project is strong enough for us to continue. So I want to know briefly what happened through these exercises, what you realized from these three exercises. I will go through everyone, okay? So we start with Kim. Briefly, what happened? What you realized doing these three exercises?
Um, I changed a lot of things. It was a very short
Okay.
poem, and then I ended up doing 2 pages, but more concrete. So yeah,
Okay, so this is a project you had in mind or you
Mhm.
created at this moment?
A project that I had.
Okay, so it changed through those exercises?
Yeah, it changed a lot.
And
Mhm.
you like what you have now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's something you can continue exploring. Okay,
yes.
amazing. Amazing. Rosita, you're mute.
Thank you.
Okay,
Um,
briefly, what happened?
so what happened in the writing?
Through those exercises, like a conclusion.
Oh, you mean from the beginning or just the last one?
No, don't read the exercise, just tell me what you discovered doing
Oh,
those
okay.
exercises.
Um, wow. I discovered a formula to find out if something is real or if it's just a pipe dream. This is
Okay.
good.
And this was a project that you had in mind before, or it was new now?
This is about my writing. Actually,
Okay.
I wanted to do a side business, and I realized that side business is a pipe dream. It just not going to work. But
Okay.
that began before this writing. But that idea that it was just a pipe dream. But this formula you've given us says to me, see, you could have found this out much earlier if you had done this. Write it down.
Okay. So there is something that you can keep continue working on,
Right.
right?
In all projects, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rosita. Eduardo?
So it absolutely helped me. Mainly because even though I began saying, "Wow, this big story, it's so whatever," I focused just on this one character and the most important scene about him, and was able to basically go from the beginning to the end, understanding everything. And at the very start, I almost felt like it was repetitive work, like, "Oh, I've done this before. I know what the character wants, whatever." But it helps so much to literally write it down again, almost like, oh, I'm just writing it down because this is what I already know, so I can get into what I don't know. And it was a very seamless experience, culminating with writing one of the most important parts of my entire book, but tied to this short story, which is when this character kind of sort of stands up for himself, develops his powers, and kind of breaks with the old, starts with the new in one fell swoop. So very
Okay,
powerful.
so it was the same character, you just put it in a specific situation, right?
Yeah, he's this is a character that's in many stories and is the main character of the whole book, but I think I got caught up in thinking about it from the grand scale of things. And even though I began with his grand scale character arc and who he is and what's going on with him, when I tied it back to this short story, this one part, it helped me not think about everything else. This is who he is right now in this moment because of what he did.
Exactly.
I could give more details, but that's basically the
Okay.
overall.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's what I want to know, like what happened. Thank you. And Lisa?
First of all, thank you. This is wonderful. Like, this is exactly what I feel like I needed. So for me, I feel like I had to adapt a little bit of the questions because I'm not working exactly on like a story per se, but it was
Okay.
not too hard. One of the things that I did notice is that I ended up also having some post-its next to the questions that we were developing about what isn't. So why, but why not? Or what for, but what for not? To
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
delimit that space of, bueno, eso se supone que es esto, pero no es esto. And somehow that just also helps me to kind of ground and narrow down like what the path is. Because I have trouble, like again, just like Eduardo said, just like being way too expensive, and that just narrows it down.
Okay, that's a great exercise. When you don't have clarity of what you want, start with what you don't want, and that will lead you for what you want. So, thank you for sharing that because that's a way to do it. Like if I'm not clear, then I will start with I don't want to do this type of a story. So, I know some information and then I can get this clarity. Okay? Patricia?
For me, it was super helpful in terms of like I got some powerful lines that I know I can use to refine my query letter from these exercises. So I found that to be really helpful as I move forward.
Okay, so it's something that you will continue working on, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a manuscript for a novel, and so I've been working on it for a few years, and I will
Okay.
continue to work on it. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Natasha, thank you.
This was super helpful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a project. It's like a 3-page short story, and I got some feedback that there was like too much conflict. So it was helpful to then take the conflict or the obstacles and just write more about like why and what. So yeah, why am I developing this character in this particular way with these obstacles? What is the end goal? And then how can I enrich and add more detail to both her internal conflict, not just the external obstacles that she's facing. So it was super helpful. Thank you.
Okay, yes, to have a specific conflict that, of course, you can have many layers from that, but this is the specific. Okay, thank you. And Lynn, I don't know if you're talking or if you're mute, Lynn. Well, when she comes, she share. Okay, so I just want to do this exercise for us to test our stories, what we have, and how it has changed. Because, like Patricia or Natasha, I don't remember, sorry, said, I was writing this for many years, but now I'm not the same person from 5 years ago. So maybe my whys or for whats has changed. And in that change, also the project changes. So that's very important to constantly revise why am I doing this and for what reason? Because that can change through the writing process. Okay? So it's very important that you at least twice monthly or every 2 months you go back to this. Am I in the same space that I was before? Have I changed? What I really want? No, I discovered this new thing, and this is what I really want to do. So this is something that you go back constantly. Okay. Okay, so we will continue. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so another. Okay, so now we know. Let me go back. So now we know the project, we know the whys and for whats, and we know that these have narrative potential. But how we will sustain that in time, how I can still be committed to this project. So I'm gonna talk to you about some specific foundations that I believe can help you. First, as we talked before, connection with the project. And that means being constantly connected to my project. Like monthly, identify why am I still doing this? And some actions that you can do to gain that connection is revisit the original reason why the project matters to you. That can connect you back to your project, even if you have doubts, even if you are afraid, even if you want to quit. Write regularly about what the story is really about for you emotionally. Again, this is an exercise of connection that will put you in the right position for your project. And return to the central question or theme that inspired the project. Like, this is something very personal for me. This is the topic. So these are exercises that can help you to stay connected, because sometimes we will lose the connection. A very important part, organization. If I don't make a plan, if I don't make a structure, I have million things in my day, my husband, my kids, my family, my friends, my job, and everything, social media. If I don't make a schedule, if I don't make a structure, I won't have my project. So define the time that you're going to write. I'm going to write every Monday from 2 p.m. through 4 p.m., for example. And if you do that every Monday in a year, you can have a project. But if you force yourself to do it every day and you obviously can't, you will quit after 1 week. So it's better to make a realistic organization, and this can change. Maybe next month I had more time, but based on this, I can be realistic. You can break the project into small milestones, like this month I'm gonna write this chapter, or this week I'm gonna focus on the character, or this week I'm gonna focus on investigation, like small tasks that you can complete throughout the month or the week, the way you establish. And keep a project document where you collect ideas, notes, revisions. Like, this is a project and I can see it. This is not something that I have in my mind and I forget. I already have a folder of this project. Okay, so organization is very important for doing the project. The other, resilience and self motivation. Like I said, not every day I am motivated. Not every day I'm going to write, wow, I feel so happy about my writing. That's not real. So, in which way, even though that happens, I'm going to stay resilient and motivated for myself? So, okay, what can I do? Create some rituals that can help you. For example, you can have an audio of yourself telling certain things, and you can listen that audio when you lose motivation, if that helps. You can have a walk around nature, for example, and connect with the environment, if that helps. Like, find what motivates you and helps you stay grounded so you don't lose. Because, okay, I had an idea that I was going to write 1,000 words, but today I only did 500. And that's okay, because that was a minimum for me, and at least I did it. So that can still have me resilient in the process. So find what helps you, because what helps me not necessarily helps Patricia or Natasha. So you gotta find yours. And the way to find is to test different activities and to see, okay, this helped me, this didn't help me to stay motivated. Maybe it's talking to a friend that helps you. You need to find that specific action. Okay. What we talked about at the beginning, creative community. Have people in the same path as you have, that are dealing with the same situations, that you can talk to, that we can come here every Sunday and talk about how we feel, what happened, what I'm facing. And maybe Eduardo had a situation, but then Lisa had the same situation, and now she has information about what to do, and vice versa. So this community can help you to get out of your mind and get into the page, and understand that this is normal, because Natasha experienced that and she's alive. So nobody dies. So it's okay. We can continue working. So it's like you're not alone in this process and you can continue working. So I want us to do a last exercise, and I want us to define a plan for a month that we create to see if we can establish that, okay? So first, we're going to establish a goal for the month. For example, this month, I want to write the outline and the first chapter of my novel and dedicate 1 hour per week to research related to the project. So this is my goal of the month. Then I'm going to establish 3 qualities for this month and an action for every quality. For example, to accomplish this goal, I need consistency, which is the ability to return to the project regularly, even when motivation is low. And my action for this month will be a schedule 2 fixed writing sections per week to work on the outline and the first chapter. Second quality, curiosity, staying open to learning more about the world, ta ta ta. The action for this month, dedicate 1 hour each week to research element connected to my project. And the third quality will be focus, the capacity to concentrate on the project without getting distracted from too many ideas. And my action for this month will be work on only one clear task during each session. For example, this session, I'm going to develop one scene or the outline. So I want you to establish this for 1 month. Okay? Let me put the timer. Okay. So this outline can change, but it's better to start a month with something structured and then these changes, then start like, I'm gonna write this month. And then I never found the time to do it. So this could be a structure that you can start using to see what happens. Also, if one of these exercises didn't work for you, you tell me, Ellie, I couldn't do it or I didn't understand that. And I can bring other exercises because not every exercise will fix or will fit you. But of course, the first time we do something, that doesn't mean we will do it right at first. So we have to do it and do it again so we understand or we find the information. So I want to listen what happened with this outline for you guys. I don't know if someone wants to share there so I can make comments and give feedback.
I can share because I finally figured out how to unmute myself. I'm on the phone
Okay.
and I'm on the phone and it's so crazy because it's so different than being on the computer. But this was really helpful for me. I made a plan to write every Tuesday and Thursday for at least an hour and not to get bogged down in research because that's what ends up happening with me because I'm going, my character is going to places I've never been. So I'll end up, like looking up a hotel, for example, and spending, 20 minutes trying to figure out what the hotel looks like and getting off track. So I don't want to do that. And my goal is to draft two new chapters by the end of the month. So
Okay.
it was very helpful to have, these parameters. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. And for you that you need to investigate, I always say, like, investigation is like a camera. Where
Yeah.
you put the camera is where the reader will see. If right now this is scene, I need to investigate these three elements, I will just focus on that and I will have a very specific amount of time so I don't get lost into many others. So, like, try to be very strict if that happens to you so you don't get lost in the investigation and you also can continue writing, okay?
Yes, thank you. I'm still trying to figure out, I can't, I'm still trying to figure out this phone, but I'm listening to everything you're saying and I really appreciate it. It was
Okay.
wonderful, very helpful.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay.
Lisa?
It was humbling. Um, because I feel that that's also another thing that I struggle with is that everything else is more important. You have work, commitment, things, da, 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 y todo se siente más importante. Um, but because I've been a little out of this kind of writing since I do a lot of academic stuff, I'm just starting small and not trying to like overwhelm myself with a big task. I'm just trying to get myself to write twice a week. How much I don't even know, but just being able to even see what I do have in my week and just say, I do
Mhm.
think that I can write twice a week. I don't know how long. And so I would start to kind of like, and that's where my curiosity part's at. It's like, how long, how much time do I actually have? What kind of writing is this? Is this just like free writing or is this just more focused writing? I'm also trying to find a space that would be better for me to write on. And that's also a challenge. So somewhere I don't get distracted, somewhere that doesn't require me to be doing other things as well. So I'm trying to figure all those things out.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I will say, like you said, like start small, and then after you gain that discipline, you will get bigger steps. And also, priority start with us. If I don't prioritize myself and say, like, okay, I talk to my husband and my kids, this hour I'm gonna use for my project, and I want you to respect that because this is important for me. So you talk to your relative and your family and you let them know this is what happening. And if they love you, they will support that time. But first you have to communicate that to others so others can understand. And about the space, I completely understand, but try not to make it an excuse. Try to start. Maybe you don't feel that comfortable, and with time, you will find that amazing place for writing. But for now, I always said a story that I was in a situation for a time and I was writing a novel and I couldn't like sit and write, and I was sending a lot of voice note in my phone of my ideas and scenes, and after like 6 months I had the novel here, so I could do it. Like try to find, I know it's hard, but try to find a way that you can do the minimum at least so you can continue. Okay?
Thank you.
Someone else that want to share?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I also wrote the dates and the hours, and but most important, I think that now I had the opportunity to write down that it's important that I'm not tired, because most of the times, like I give my energy to everything, and then let's see, I put Friday 8 to 9 p.m., but I also like highlight, like you don't have to be tired. I don't know if it makes sense, because
Mm-hmm,
if
mm-hmm.
I'm tired, I'm not creative. I'm just like writing it down. So I think it's important for me, at least, to choose a date and an hour where I'm not tired.
Yeah, I agree. And that's getting to know yourself. Like there are people that write in the morning, other people write at night, other people at afternoon. That depends. If I see I don't have energy, I cannot pick that hour for my writing because I'm not gonna do it. And then I'm gonna be like, oh, I never do it. But no, I'm picking the wrong time for me. Okay, so that's very important, Kim. Thank you for sharing. Okay, anyone else that wants to share? There will be a part two for this workshop because I have other things I want to share, but I think this was a great beginning for us. And hopefully, I want you to stay in these projects so we will continue working in the sessions with this project in specific. Okay, so you can use the Sundays for this project to develop whatever exercises comes here, but using this project so you will have more information. Okay. Anyone else? Patricia, Eduardo, Natasha, or Rosita?
For me, it's been really difficult finding time for revision, especially during the school year, because I'm both a teacher and a parent. And so things get really busy. And I think that that's something that other people kind of express, right? And that you spoke to, just like speaking with, your family, talking to your husband, being honest with the kids, like this is what I'm working on, it's important. And just kind of creating that space. Summers are like great for me because, I'm not working during that time. So I have like more flexibility, but I have to find the time during the school year also. So I set aside at least, right now I just put it for 30 minutes per week. I know that doesn't sound like much, but I don't want to, over promise and under deliver. So I want to start out small. So that's where I'm at now.
Amazing. And I agree. Like, start with that 30 minutes. And then in summer, you do an intensive for you. You get that, all that you couldn't do for those months, and you can gain in the summer. So it's like finding the way throughout all these things that we can continue. Okay. So I completely understand. Yeah. Okay, then there will be a part two because I have other things I want to share, but I think this was amazing. Okay. Andy, I don't know if you want to add anything else. Do you have a project, Andy?
No, I'm good.
Okay, guys, thank you. And we will continue working. And I encourage you to take a project, to come here to the Writer Salon with a project so you can use these exercises to work on that. Okay?
Ellie, no te vayas.
Okay.
Everybody else,
Bye,
enjoy the
everybody.
Sunday.
Thank you
Thank
Bye.
you
so
for
Thank
joining
much.
us
you.
today.
Bye,
Thank
gracias.
you.
Que le vaya bien.
Ok, ¿qué te pareció hoy?
No, no tiene que parar the recording.
Oh, I do. I
Over
edit it